Okay, after deep consideration, I've established that it's probably worth discussing this in its own topic. Two concepts. One, the defense that exists with an offensive punch. I know I talked about it in our straights, i.e. jabs and crosses. So the defense that exists while being offensive, and this concept of recoiling our punches, they kind of coexist with one another, right? So I'll leave the examples with straights for now, but recoil applies, or recoil return applies with all punches. So what am I talking about? The defensive lines that have to exist with all our punches are, as we mentioned before, this return of your punch, right? So the two concepts, return of the punch and the shoulder defense while being offensive. So the return of the punch is exactly as it sounds. It's how fast can I get whatever attacking hand is being used back to its home being chin. So, good example, bing, 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 right? How fast can I get that hand to be offensive and immediately as fast defensive again, right? So the window of offense to defense should be minimal. Yeah? What's also important there is how much defense can I create while being offensive. Now your best line of defense while being offensive becomes the shoulder. Right? So I'm going to allow that shoulder to roll up to my chin while I look down my punch, and that's going to become my new line of defense. Same rule applies with the jab. When the jab goes out, bang, that becomes my line of defense, right? So I'm here, bang. Shoulder protects my chin, which directly protects a large portion of my head. So we want a fast return and we want that shoulder to become a nice line of defense. Another thing worth mentioning is one hand doesn't leave if the other isn't home, right? So a fast return really is responsible for how fast you can throw all your punches. We're not going to throw this and then throw this, and now we've got no defense at all. So I can't throw my other hand until the initial punching hand has returned home. Bing, 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 bing. Now it can go, right? So the faster you can get that hand back to your chin, the faster the next hand can punch. So fast return on a punch allows for a fast offense again. The next thing we need to talk about is that recoil, right? So the recoil return, we know we rotate and we generate rotational force when we throw our punches. So from here, my shoulder girdle turns when I throw my jab. Upon return, we don't just return in this rotated position. We throw our jab, we pull the shoulder to get it out fast and generate force. We return, right? I feel like that kind of makes sense. Rotate, back to neutral position. Rotate, back to neutral position. That rule applies for shoulders and hips. So shoulders and hips rotate, primarily shoulder off the jab, the opposite shoulder, it comes back. Cross, same rule applies. Shoulders are going to rotate. Big rotation across the hip. Let's get side view. Wah! The recoil return happens, right? So we always need to return back to our strong stance, our strong base. From there, we can sort of do whatever we want to do. Defense with your offense, recoil on the punch.